Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is David Novak. So I've been reading The First Crusade by Stephen Runciman, which is a 3-volume set covering the complete Crusades. I mistakenly said that it was no longer than 250 pages. It's actually 270 pages. I'm just a little ways past the midpoint. As a novice to the study of not only the Crusades, but anything medieval, I find myself in a situation where new names are being thrown at me right and left, and it's hard to keep track of them. Even in some cases, names that you've heard of, such as Tancred, I think. Don't know who he is, but I'm sure I've heard that name. But the smooth prose of Runciman helps make it a little bit easier, and I'd like to give you a paragraph of one of his descriptions. Now, this is about a crusader named Bohemond, who did make a name for himself and entered the historic record for his services in the Crusades. These men, and not just men and their entire entourages, are making the long journey from the West, from France, Italy, and so forth, reaching Byzantium, coming to the walls even of Constantinople, where the leaders of them are having a meeting successively, as it were, because they did not arrive all at the same time, with the emperor Alexius Comnenus, I believe his name is. Now, he has a daughter named Anna Comnena, who wrote about him after the fact. So Bohemond meets with Alexius, and this is what Runciman has to say. To Alexius, Bohemond seemed by far the most dangerous of the Crusaders. Past experience had taught the Byzantines that the Normans were formidable enemies, ambitious, wily, and unscrupulous, and Bohemond had shown himself in previous campaigns to be a worthy leader for them. His troops were well organized, well equipped, and well disciplined. He had their complete confidence. As a strategist, he was perhaps oversure of himself and not always wise. But as a diplomat, he was subtle and persuasive, and far-sighted as a politician. His person was very impressive. Anna Comnena, who knew him and hated him passionately, could not but admit his charm and wrote enthusiastically of his good looks. He was immensely tall, and though he was already over 40 years of age, he had the figure and complexion of a young man, broad-shouldered and narrow-waisted, with a clear skin and ruddy cheeks. He wore his yellow hair shorter than was the fashion with Western knights and was clean-shaven. He had stooped slightly from his childhood, but without impairing his air of health and strength. There was, says Anna, something hard in his expression and sinister in his smile, but being like all Greeks down the ages, susceptible to human beauty, she could not withhold her admiration. That's a pretty indelible portrait of one of the renowned Crusaders. Let me share with you just a little bit more. So another one was named Stephen of Blois, and he was, or would, I think he was, well, he was the father of the Stephen of Blois who would become the King of England. This is before that. Stephen of Blois had no desire to join the crusade, but he had married Adela, daughter of William the Conqueror, and in their household it was she who made the decision. She wished him to go, and he went. I'll just cut that off there. It did not turn out well for Stephen of Blois. I have the advantage of being able to look up some of these names on Wikipedia and finding out a little bit about them. I say the advantage because I recognize in any time previous that advantage would not be available to the student. So let me go on a little bit and read another little bit of a paragraph just for one sentence which I love, and it will be the sentence that I end with, which starts with the words, "the tactful discovery." Robert of Normandy and Stephen of Blois lingered on in southern Italy till the spring. Their lack of enthusiasm affected their followers, many of whom began to wander back towards their homes. At last, in March, the army moved to Brindisi, and on 5 April it prepared to embark. Unfortunately, the first ship to set sail capsized and foundered, losing some 400 passengers, with their horses and mules and many chests of money. The tactful discovery that the corpses washed up on the shore were miraculously marked with crosses on their shoulder blades, while it edified the faithful, did not discourage many more timorous folk from abandoning the expedition. That's just a brief little snippet, or a couple of snippets, from Stephen Runciman, The First Crusade. I thought I would share that. Thank you for stopping by my channel.